Hello and welcome to our 403 assignment, Creative Writing Enrichment. Thank you so much for watching this recording. I know that we were supposed to have a session on Thursday, but because of me being absent, we're going to go ahead and do it as a recording so you know what to do when you turn in this assignment. And by watching this session, then you will be getting those participation points, but you need to wait till the end to find out how to do that. So this session is being recorded for learning purposes. Learning purposes include a lesson review for students who are absent, students who want to review for a test, and will be distributed for learning purposes. And our theme, AZVA High School. This is my time 100%. Together we'll find a way. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This is my time to work hard, to learn, to achieve, to grow, to prepare, and to have joy in my accomplishments. This is AZVA in pursuit of excellence, and my time is now. And our 7 mindsets for the week: live to give, receive gracefully. And our objective for today together, we're going to go over the 403 assignment directions and rubric. We will work through the activities to prepare us for our assignment. So our assignment for Unit 4, remember, has to do with playwriting. And what you're going to do is you are going to create a scene. And this scene is going to be primarily driven by dialogue. That means when characters speak to one another. You're not going to have a lot of background information or set directions. It's going to be a scene driven by dialogue. You do need to use one of the prompts below. One of these needs to be your jumping off point. So this could be the first line in your scene, or this could be one of the lines in the scene, but it does need to be one of these choices. Who put this in my backpack? I can't forgive her. You were in a car accident. I've been waiting 3 hours. I found it buried in the woods. Guess whose picture I saw on the front page of the Daily Times? And I haven't spoken to my dad in 5 years. This scene should be only about 2 pages long. That's not very long when you are spacing the dialogue. So this is not a long scene. This is very short, but it should be 2 full pages. It should feel complete when the reader finishes reading it. It should still have a beginning, middle, and end. So your main character should encounter some sort of conflict. And just like what we've done before with like our flash fiction, it doesn't have to be a huge conflict. It could be something like someone finds a random cell phone in a backpack and they need to give it back to the owner. That is a great example of a conflict. Make sure you're not including a lot of characters to make your scene brief. I would say 2 to 3, but 2 is really enough to work with. You're going to use dialogue to move the story forward. That's the whole point of this assignment, is creating that really rich and important dialogue to move your story forward. This is going to increase the suspense, show readers traits of the characters and the conflict that they're in. Remember, like we talked about on Tuesday, you can give background information by what the characters say. You don't have to give us a lot of that background information in the beginning through set directions and stuff like that. You do need to include descriptions of time and place so the setting functions as a backdrop for the protagonist to face whatever they encounter. So I should know at the beginning, and this can be just a quick sentence or two, where and when this is happening. So we have a little bit of background, but again, it's brief. So you could say something like 2021 bathroom stall at Macy's shopping mall. It's brief. The point is to have clear dialogue to drive the story. There is a part 2. You are going to answer the following questions in one paragraph. So the first part is the scene. The second part is answering these questions. Do you think you've accomplished the goal of establishing relationships in one section and moving the story forward in the other? How or how not? If not, what do you think you could do to make that happen? Do you think each character's words and way of speaking sounds like it is different from the other characters? Explain. If you think all your characters sound alike, what could you do to change it? And do you think the dialogue sounds like a real conversation? Explain. If you think it does not, what can you do to change it? So remember, part 1 is the scene, Part 2 is the answering question section. So you do need to have both parts. So some things to think about: dialogue do's and don'ts. Use the rule of 3 for important information. What this means is if you need information given to the reader that's important, it should come about 3 times in different ways. So you don't have to repeat the phrase 3 different times, but think about 3 different ways you could say it. Since this is a short scene, I don't expect you to do this, but this is good info as we move forward, because we will be creating a couple longer scenes for our unit project. Characters don't need to talk perfectly. How many times just in this recording have I stumbled, right? Because normal people stumble when they speak. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, each line shouldn't be messed up, but it's okay if some of the phrases are not as clear. Now, you don't want to do that for everything. It's a stylistic choice. And make sure you're not using cliches. You want to be original. The beginning of a line shouldn't echo the end of the prior line. For example, if your first line says, "What are you doing tonight? Do you have any plans?" The second line should not be, "I don't have any plans tonight." You could say something like, if the first character says, "Do you have any plans tonight?" the other character could say, "No, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed early." So you don't want to echo those lines. You want to make sure that each line of dialogue is precise and has a specific meaning. You don't want to have your dialogue speechifying. What that means is it's lots and lots and lots of info. Make sure whatever information your character is speaking is needed. No fluff. Keep your agenda out of the dialogue. Don't tell us the theme by having the character say the theme. We should be able to come up with what's happening in the play and the scene by just the dialogue alone. And if you're trying to create an accent, don't spell it out or write it the way you think it should sound. I know sometimes we do that for comedic effects, like on Facebook and social media. Don't do that. You could say, parentheses in an Italian accent, and parentheses, and then say the line, but you don't want to spell it out phonetically, which is the way it sounds. Character stage directions. These are right underneath the character tag. These should be used only when the reader wouldn't understand what's going on without them. Sometimes we say things like waving him off, or sing song, or whispering to Robert. Those are things, if they are really needed in the scene, that you can put in there. But you don't have to say they walked stage left, they walked stage right. That's the director's job. You're only giving the reader information that's very important to the characters and that they would not understand if they didn't see it. A few things to remember: every time you mention a character in the stage directions, their name should be in all caps. This makes it easier for the actors, the director, and the team to scan the page and find what the actors are doing. Stage directions are always enclosed in parentheses, and stage directions should only show what's taking place on the stage, what the audience can hear or see. They do not need to tell the interior life or previous life of people or objects. So here's an example. Fred takes a bucket to wash the windows. We see it in parentheses. Jane stares at him in evident belief. Again, the directions are in parentheses. And the very last line, we can see the parentheses, and we say he turns to the windows. This is obviously important for the writer that the audience sees this. So that's a great example of putting that stage directions in the scene. Character tags. Make sure you use all capital letters to identify when the character is speaking. You can use their full name or a shorter version, such as a first name or a last name. So example, we see the characters of youth, life, and death are all capitalized. And we see the dialogue right underneath. So we're going to go ahead and look at our rubric. So to get 100% on this assignment, The purpose and contents needs to make sure you have a scene driven by dialogue. The dialogue is natural to the character and tells a compelling story. You have your part 2, which is answering those questions. You have the correct format with dialogue and scenes correctly formatted, and you've answered all the questions in one paragraph for part 2. And of course, language and conventions, that everything sounds clearly. So what is next? If you want points for coming to this session, you need to email me the password Piglet by next Monday, April 5th. So make sure you email me that password Piglet for some bonus points added to your attendance. The 403 assignment, please make sure you work on that. Unit 3 does lock this coming Sunday, April 4th at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you turn in that Unit 3 project. I will be gone tomorrow, which is why I am doing this with you today. AZ Merit, the next 2 weeks are the same on the plan, so whatever week you're not testing, you should be working. We're not going to have any live sessions for 2 weeks, but again, there will be work to do. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can email me, and again, you can email me that password for the points as Piglet. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.